Hello everyone, hope you are all doing well. Can you guess the topic which we are going to discuss today, children? Here you can see the wonderful scenes of nature. We know that nature is the art of God. It is the best erudite master who teaches us the fundamental laws of nature, thus by making us live properly. Have you all guessed it, children? Yes, you are right. Today we are going to discuss about the topic our environment and myself your biology teacher Dr. D. Pramila Gyanarani. Today we are going to discuss about the definition of ecosystem, biodegradable and non-biodegradable materials, ecosystem, its components, food chain, food web, energy flow and the environmental problems which we are facing. Before moving on to the topic, let me ask you one question, children. What do you mean by environment, or what do you understand by the term environment? Yes, you're right. The surrounding place where we live in, that is together with biotic and abiotic components, is referred as environment. Now, the environment consists of biotic and abiotic components, and hence there is an interrelationship prevailing between both the components, and hence this environment is referred as an ecosystem. The term ecosystem was given by Ernest Haeckel in the year 1869, and the branch of biology that deals with the study of ecosystems is referred as ecology. The term ecology was given by Arthur Tansley in the year 1935. We basically know how to categorize the environments when we are provided. So, we categorize the environments into natural environment and artificial environment. The natural ecosystem can also be called as geographical environment. The artificial environment can also be called as built-in ecosystem or man-made ecosystem. Now, let us move on to know about the geographical ecosystem. It is a natural ecosystem that comprises of the mountains, rivers, land, water, deserts. Not only that, it also includes tundra, polar region, as well as the tropical rainforest regions. Now let us move on to the artificial environment. This is the environment created artificially by man to regulate the environmental conditions. This includes the social environment that exists as long as the society exists. Here, the artificial environments are nothing but the aquarium setup which you set up in your home, shops, industries, schools. Not only that, the garden you set in your homes, the garden which is set in a school is also an example of what? Artificial environment. Even terrace farming, wetland cultivation and the parks, zoos are also referred as artificial environment. I hope you have all understood the types of environments. Now let us move on to know about the types of materials. Here we come across different types of materials in our day-to-day lives. But do we know how to categorize them and how to dispose them to prevent further hazards to environment? No, this we are going to learn. Isn't it, children? Right. So, the materials which we use in our day-to-day life can be categorized into biodegradable when they are able to get decomposed. If not, if they are not able to get decomposed, they should be referred as non-biodegradable materials. The biodegradable materials should be disposed in the green dustbin, whereas the non-biodegradable materials should be disposed into the blue bin. Do you know why, children? Yes, let me make it clear. The biodegradable materials, when they get decomposed, they form into manure. We all know that decomposition is a slow process. It takes millions of years. But the end product is a useful substance called as the manure. So, we need to make the people understand that you have put biodegradable waste into the green dustbin. Now, coming to the non-biodegradable material. If it is not properly disposed into the blue bin, the biodegradable materials, they provide manure. But the non-biodegradable materials don't produce any manure, but instead they cause harmfulness when they are mixed with the biodegradable substances. So that's why they are separated and disposed specifically into the blue dustbin. When plastic covers or polythene covers are not disposed properly, that is, if they are disposed into the drain, they clog the drain and it might cause the death of organisms prevailing in the, that is, the aquatic organisms might die, and thus paving way for water pollution. Now, if the polythene covers are swallowed by the cattle, the polythene covers block the respiratory tract of the cattle and thereby the cattle die due to suffocation. So hence we need to prevent by disposing the non-biodegradable substances from biodegradable substances properly to safeguard our environment. Now let us move on to the next topic, the components of ecosystem. The components of ecosystems are, as what we already know, that it comprises of biotic and abiotic components. The biotic components are the plants, animals and the microorganisms, whereas the abiotic components are the light, water, soil, air and minerals. Now let us move on to the next topic, the food chain. What do you mean by a chain, children? Chain is nothing but series of beads connected, right? The same way, transfer of energy is also taking place from one level to the other level, that is from one step to the other step. So we grow up gradually. So transferring of energy occurs by a series of organisms, that is levels of organisms are present to transfer the energy from the lower level to the higher level. So such a transferring of energy that results in the series of organisms is called as food chain. That is, the energy is transferred from the lower level, that is the producers, and to the higher level, that is higher order level consumers. Here in the food chain you can see the food chain which occurs in the grasslands. That is, the producers, that is the plants are being eaten by the herbivores, that is the primary consumers. From the primary consumers it goes on to the mice, that is the secondary consumer, and the mice are eaten by the tertiary consumer. Hence this food chain, each level, that is each step from the autotroph is referred as trophic levels or orders. So this food chain consists of how many orders, children? 4 orders. That is, first order is, that is first step is producer, that is the autotrophs. Second step primary consumer. Third step or third order secondary consumer, and fourth order or fourth step comprises of the what? Tertiary consumer. Now here you can see in this picture different kinds of food chains, that is different food chains are interconnected. So interconnection of, that is a network of food chains, network of numerous food chains is referred as a food web. Do you know why food web is there, children? Yes, you are right. Food web is there because it gives the alternate pathway for food availability. That is, food web is interconnected to provide the alternative pathway of food availability, and hence we have alternate food availability. Organisms can thrive based upon, that is by utilizing the other pathway of what? Availability of food. So interconnection of food chain is referred as food web. Now let us move on to the another topic, that is here you can see the food chains. This picture enables you to understand the food chains present in different types of ecosystems. The first one shows the ecosystem, that is the forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. You can see the forest ecosystem, you can see 3 steps, that is 3 trophic levels are there, 3 orders are there. The first, second and third. The first one are trees, the second one is the herbivore and the third one is the carnivore. Now coming to the grassland, it consists of what? 5 organisms, that is 5 orders, 5 steps and 5 trophic levels it consists of. Namely, the first trophic level is the flower, that is the autotroph producer. Then the honey is being taken by the butterfly, primary consumer. Butterfly is eaten by the frog, secondary consumer, second trophic level. Then frog is swallowed by the snake and snake by the eagle. So the transfer of what? Food energy is done by nearly 5 steps. That is, it involves 5 steps. So these steps are called as what? Trophic levels. Now coming to the aquatic mode. In the aquatic ecosystem, the water plant is taken by what? The herbivores, that is small fish. Small fishes are taken by the large fishes and large fishes are eaten by the birds. So hence this ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, consists of 4 orders, that is 4 trophic levels, that starts from autotrophs. Now let us move on to the know clearly about the trophic level. Now coming here, you can see the picture how the trophic levels are noted. So as what I've already told you, the first trophic level is taken place, that is the first position goes to only the autotrophs, and then the transfer of energy starts from only the producers. From the producers it goes to the second trophic level, that is the primary consumer. From primary consumer the energy is transferred to the third trophic level, the secondary consumer, and it is passed on to the fourth trophic level, that is the tertiary consumer. Sometimes quaternary consumers are also there. They are referred as high order or high level consumers. Now to your right side you can see some pyramid like structure, that is the arrangement of trophic level. The trophic levels are arranged in a graphical representation to represent it as a pyramid. The reason why it has been put up means this represents the transferring of energy. From sunlight, more energy is given to the producers. From producers, it goes on to the herbivores, and from herbivores, it goes on to the carnivores, and from the carnivores, it goes on to the top carnivores. When each transferring of energy takes place, only 10% of energy is transferred. That is, little amount of energy than prepared is transferred to one trophic level to the other trophic level, and hence this is represented as a pyramid, and this is called as ecological pyramid. Remember one thing, the lower trophic level will be more as compared to the high trophic level. When the trophic level increases, the number of organisms decreases. The utility of organisms what? Exceeds, and hence the number of organisms decrease. Let me tell you one thing. From the sunlight, 1% of energy is taken by the producers. The light energy is converted into chemical energy. From this, 90% of energy is utilized by the producers. Then, the 10% energy is stored as reserve. This stored energy is transferred to the herbivores, and from the herbivores, 10% of energy will be going into the carnivores, and from carnivores, 10% will be going to the top carnivore. At the end stage, you can see only little amount of energy is taken, that is got by the higher order level consumers. This can be proved by another pyramid chart which is seen here. You can see the lower level, that is the primary producer, that is the producers autotrophs. If say for example, if they are having 20,000 kilocalories of energy. Okay, now when 90% is utilized and only 10% is transferred, that is 10% is what children? 2000 kilocalories. It goes to the second trophic level, that is the primary consumer. From the primary consumer, again 10% is deducted and only 200 kilocalorie is transferred to the next second trophic level, that is secondary consumers, that is the third trophic level. From third trophic level, it goes on to the tertiary consumer again by the reduction of 10%, hence 20 kilocalorie goes on. Then as it reaches higher to the quaternary consumer or the higher level consumer, only 2%, that is 2 kilocalories is needed. That is, it is got by the organism. Hence, the energy flow goes from the producers to the higher order level. So, hence is referred as unidirectional. So, it moves on from producers and then to the primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and at last it ends to the quaternary consumer. Hence, this energy flow is referred as unidirectional, and not only that, only 10% of energy is being transferred from one trophic level to the other trophic level, that is towards the end only 10% of what from each trophic level is being transferred. Hence, this is called as the law of 10%. So, the law of 10% energy flow says that energy is transferred from one trophic level to the other trophic level throughout the transferring of energy is only 10%. I hope you have all understood, children. Now, let us move on to the next topic, the biological magnification. Okay, before moving on to biology magnification, let me ask you one thing. When you take food, only food is being, that is energy is being transferred, you think? Yes, you are absolutely right. Not only food energy is being transferred, the toxic level is also what? The toxic substances which are seen in one step is also transferred along with the energy to the next trophic level. Thereby, the high order level will be having more amount of toxicity that might prove lethal to the organism. Hence, this accumulation of toxicity is referred as biological magnification. I hope you all know that what is biological magnification. Here in this video, this is explained clearly. Here, it consists of three components, that is the fertilizers are put for the growth of the plants, and this one is taken by the human beings. See, the farmers are pouring fertilizers and chemicals. This is taken by the plants, that is the soil absorbs it. From the soil, the root absorbs it. So, indirectly, the fertilizers, chemical harmful substances goes into the plants, first thing. Next, the remaining reaches into the aquatic medium. In the aquatic medium, the lower animals take the toxic level. Then, it is transferred to the higher order level, that is the higher order consumer. So, the higher order consumer receives more toxicity level. Not only that, but we human beings are highly prone to get affected by biomagnification. The reason is we are omnivores. We eat different kinds of what? Food. We eat different kinds of hybridized food. Even the junk foods we eat, they are also causing what? Toxicity to our body. So, we are highly prone to be affected by biomagnification. So, the accumulation of toxicity is referred as biomagnification or biological amplification or biological magnification. Now, let us know about the other one, that is the ozone depletion. Now, in this video, you can see what is ozone. This video shows you clearly about what is ozone. These are the environmental hazards which are taking place in our daily life. See, we have water pollution, air pollution, but not only that, because of continuous setting of smoke from the industries and factories, our atmosphere is affected. Due to that, the sunlight, direct sunlight is passed on into our atmosphere. So, when it is passed on, we are directly being affected by the sun's heat. The sunlight actually, it consists of what? UV rays. These UV rays are very harmful to us. Though sunlight is the primary source of energy, because of it all the vital activities are being done, the more amount of UV rays cause harmful effects for us. Hence, we need to be safeguarded. So, God has given a wonderful layer to protect us called as ozone. Now, you can see how ozone is formed. In the atmosphere, oxygen is there. Because of the sun's light, UV rays, the oxygen is lysis of oxygen takes place. So one molecule goes and forms into what? O3 molecule. And thus ozone protects the atmosphere from the harmful rays of the sun. When the chlorofluorocarbons from the smokes, factories, aerosols come, they chain reaction takes place and form into chlorine. So splitting of ozone takes place and only oxygen is left. So thereby depletion of ozone takes place by the CFCs. Now what do you understand by CFCs? CFCs are nothing but the chlorofluorocarbons which we use in the paints, that is painting cars, and not only that, we can see the CFCs being used in the refrigerators. And the aerosols which we are using even in the foam beds we can see. So all these are having what? CFCs. So make sure that we should not use CFCs products so that it might not cause harm for us. Now here I like to inform you about the Montreal Protocol. There is a Montreal Protocol which says that reduction usage of CFCs. Now let us move on to the next hazard, that is the harmful effect is dumping of garbages. As what this picture here shows that the dumping of garbages actually should be done properly. So basically you all know the how to dump the garbage. So dumping of garbage is a primary thing which we need to understand. So we need to understand 5 R's, that is we should reduce, reuse, recycle, recover, and not only that, we should refuse the usage of non-biodegradable substances to pave way for a green environment. So here the waste disposals, the waste garbages can be used as landfill. After 20 to 25 years, the landfill can be converted into parks. I hope you're all able to follow what I have told you in this lesson, children. Let's nurture the nature so that we can have a better future. Remember, when you try to heal nature, we heal ourselves. I hope you have understood this session.